I think we're going to get rolling here so we can start opening envelopes on time. I'm Dr. Mike Cavan. I'm the Associate Dean for Student Affairs in the School of Medicine. And I want to welcome everybody, all the students, family members, friends, and others to join us in this I think it's a very exciting day. At this point in time, I'd like to welcome the Dean of our School of Medicine, Dr. Rowan Zetterman, who again I think is very supportive of our students, meets weekly with students, both student government as well as students in general about various issues, really does his best, everything within his power to make this a very welcoming place for our students. So if you could please welcome Dr. Rowan Zetterman.
Well, thank you very much for the very kind introduction. I'm reminded on a day like today when there's a lot of exciting things to do, I think it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt that said, be thoughtful, be brief, be seated. And so I'll violate it only slightly. First, I want to thank the students that are here today, of any of the classes that may be here. For the parents who are here, every medical school goes through an accreditation process every 8 years. And this is a big deal. It takes us more than a year to prepare. And we go through it with the intent that obviously we're going to be accredited when we're done. And we went through an accreditation process in October, a final visit, and we got, I think, one of the best reports we could have possibly gotten about the quality of the education that we give, about how we carry it out, and a variety of things that they cited, including the access of our staff and faculty to the students, or vice versa, however you want to look at that. But a number of things that really spoke to the fact this is a student-centered school. This is a school that speaks to service. They found that 100% of our students engage in service as a medical student. That's uncommon across the United States, but it speaks to the kind of students that we have. So our students are really the reasons why we did so well in the accreditation, and I want to thank them today publicly for their role. One of the site visitors actually said some months later in a conversation, somebody that isn't from this area at all, and she actually said she had never seen a more well-adjusted group of medical students in all of her visits. Now, she didn't see them all, so that probably explains a few of the issues. But I'll remind the students, you now carry forward an obligation. This is what Creighton is like to the public. This is what Creighton is like to our graduate programs that you're going to go to. We know that the Creighton students are highly valued, so you now have an obligation to continue that value of your education forward through the remainder of your life. And I said this the other night, when I greet the incoming students, I now close always with a little statement that says something to the effect of, remember your God, and not just before tests. I'll remind you today, remember your God, and not just when you're having a crisis with a patient. That is your future. Thank you very much.
And now I'd like to invite your class president, Tracy Davies, to the stage to say a few words. Tracy.
Thank you, and welcome to all of you. It's an honor to be with you today, and I hope I say everybody's name correctly. Okay, so I have a couple announcements. They will be brief because I know we're all nervous. First of all, when your name is called, come to this stage and give Cole $1 to go in the pot. The last two names that are called will be splitting that pot of money just because it's a long time to wait. Okay? Also, if you are taking pictures today, and we would encourage that, send all your pictures to Andrew Camion. He still has 3 pages to fill in the yearbook, and we want to remember this day. So send them to Camion. Erin Fuchs' mom will be selling Creighton School of Medicine pint glasses in the lobby right after the ceremony. So thank you, Mrs. Fuchs. We appreciate that. Hey, I think that's it. Please come celebrate with us at Upstream following the ceremony. And, oh, yeah, all of the Senior Week announcements will be made via email just because I didn't want to make you sit through that today. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Yeah. And then, and I say this every year just because she tells me this every year, but Marcia will come up to say a prayer only because she says you need it. And I say, no, I think they're much better than that, Marcia. But if we could have Marcia up to say a prayer and then we can start opening envelopes. Marcia Kusek.
He's kind of a stand-up, isn't he? But it is fitting that we offer prayer on another very significant day in your life. So let us pray. Gracious God, we are a people empowered by your love. As the students complete their residency match, as a part of their life's journey, may there be peace and trust within. We humbly ask you to continue to bless our students as they embrace life with all its challenges, opportunities, and joy. This in your name we pray. Amen.
You know, when I looked at, we have access to the match list earlier this week, and when I opened it up, I was very impressed with how well you all did, and I think we're very proud. This isn't, I don't know if people know this, but there are more and more medical students each year in the match, and about the same number of residency slots. So it's getting very, very competitive to match anymore. And with that, we're always nervous about how well our students are going to do. And last year I said, wow, that's like the best year we've ever had, and thinking that it's only going to kind of, stay there or get worse. But, I think this year is really impressive. You guys did very, very well. We had 97% of our students match into their specialty of choice in a tough year, which is awesome. And I won't say in what specialty because I don't want to ruin it for people, but in pretty wonderful specialties and at great places. So you should all be very, very proud of this process. So congratulations in that sense. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to scramble up these letters in this box back there. I'm going to hand 2 of them to Tracy to begin with. She's going to read the name of a person who comes up to read, and that other person that she reads needs to come up and be sitting off to the side on deck, okay? And then she'll read the next name, and that person needs to come up on deck as well. So we always have somebody on deck off to the left of our stage here, or on your right. That way it kind of speeds it up, and that way you can get out of here in time to watch the Blue Jays beat Alabama, okay? So, my cheap watch says it's time to do this. Okay, ready? Go 2 at a time right here to begin with, and whichever one you want to read first.
Okay.
It's back here.
First up is Nikki Singh. On deck is Scott Turner.
Okay. Hi, Mom, Dad, Vern.
Oh, yeah, good point.
To my parents.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt. You can't look at. This is real. I'm a psychologist. I'm looking for patience, and so this is going to create lots of anxiety in Nikki here. So, but no, feel free to say hi to your parents and stuff. This is being streamed all over the world, okay, including Phoenix, our St. Joe's Hospital partner, and everything else. And so feel free. And when you get up here, say it clearly, loudly, and have fun. Okay. Now it's all yours.
Okay. So I'm going into pediatrics, and I'm going to Children's Mercy.
Okay. Next up is Scott Turner. On deck is Paul Pena.
Hello. I'm going to do general surgery at the University of Kansas School of Medicine.
Up next is Paul Pena. On deck is Thomas Sullivan.
All right, hi Dad. I was watching you, can't see me. Hi Mom, I love you. So I'm doing internal medicine at University of Kansas City. Woo!
Up next is Thomas Sullivan. On deck is Sam Hauk.
I'm Thomas Sullivan. Hi, Mom, Dad, Grandma. And we're moving to Chicago. Loyola. Radiology.
Next is Sam Hauk. On deck is Christina Ferraro. McKenna Belzer will be reading for her.
I'm doing radiology at Dartmouth.
Up next is Christina Ferraro, and on deck is Christine Ruckeson.
Hi, I'm McKenna. I'm reading this for Christina Ferraro. She's going into radiology at... Prelim is at surgery prelim at Maricopa and diagnostic radiology at St. Joe's.
Up next is Christine Ruckeson, and on deck is Christina Ray.
I'm doing med peds at University San Diego Medical Center in California.
Up next is Christina Ray. On deck is Brian Huter.
Internal medicine, and we're going to the University of New Mexico.
Up next is Brian Huter. On deck is Miriam Badamosi Akindele.
Internal medicine, Hennepin County Medical Center.
Up next is Miriam Badamosi Akindele. And on deck is Cole Dietz.
We'd like to, on behalf of my husband, Kenny, and my daughter, Rama, we'd like to thank our family and friends back home. Thank you for all the love and support. We love you. I'm doing internal medicine at Creighton University.
Next will be Cole Dietz, and on deck is Kunal Desai.
Okay. And I'm doing anesthesiology at the University of Minnesota Med School.
Up next is Kunal Desai. On deck is Jenny Kumasaki.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Back in India. This is going to be exciting. Yes! Doing neurology, prelim medicine at Greenwich Hospital, and neurology at Einstein, Montefiore, New York.
Next is Jenny Kumasaki, and on deck is Andrew Dickute.
I'm doing internal medicine at Dartmouth.
Up next is Andrew Dickute. On deck is Aaron Fuchs.
Just want to say hi to Leanne watching on the web. I'm going to emergency medicine at Texas A&M Scott and White.
Next is Aaron Fuchs. On deck is Tessa Wyberny.
Hi to everyone at home. That includes my Uncle Jeff and, of course, the Gourmet Gals, for those of you who know who it is. Okay, I am doing pediatrics, and I'm going to the University of Utah.
Up next is Tessa Wyberny. On deck is Rachel Austin.
I'm doing pediatrics at Medical University of South Carolina.
Up next is Rachel Austin. On deck is John and Emily Daly.
I am doing anesthesia prelim year at Creighton and anesthesia at UNMC.
Next is John and Emily Daly, and on deck is Laura Sullivan Burke.
Hello, Mom and Dad, and sisters and Grandpa. Hello, Wally. I'm doing psychiatry at USC.
And I'm doing OB-GYN at White Memorial Medical Center in LA.
Up next is Laura Sullivan Burke, and on deck is Emily Pfeiffer.
I'm doing ophthalmology at Loyola and prelim at Resurrection in Chicago.
Up next is Emily Pfeiffer. On deck is Brad Turnus.
All right, so internal medicine at Mayo School of Grad Medical Education.
Up next is Brad Turnus. On deck is Brittany McLean Schwartz.
I'm going into internal medicine at Mayo Clinic, Rochester, Minnesota.
Up next is Brittany McLean Schwartz. On deck is TT Pham.
Hi to all my family and friends from coast to coast. I'm going into pediatrics at Case Western in Cleveland, Ohio.
Up next is TT Pham. On deck is Nick Marinkovich.
I'm doing internal medicine at Providence St. Vincent's.
Up next is Nick Marinkovich. On deck is Kristen Kwiatkowski. McKenna Belzer will be reading for her.
All right, I'd like to say hi to my family watching on the web. All right, and I'm at Dermatology Medicine at Washington Hospital in D.C.
Up next is Kristen Kwiatkowski. McKenna Belzer is reading. And Will Clutho's on deck.
Hi, Kristen. Kristen's going into surgery at Mayo School of Grad Med Ed in Arizona.
Up next is Will Clutho. On deck is Brian Klauk.
Hi, everyone. I'm going into pediatrics, and it is at University of Iowa.
Up next is Brian Klauk. On deck is Andrew Troya.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Grandpa. I'm doing emergency medicine at the University of Kansas.
Up next is Andrew Troya. On deck is Ellen Clocker.
I'm doing a transitional year at St. Joseph in Chicago.
Up next is Ellen Clocker. On deck is Tim Dickhout.
I'm doing med peds at Loyola.
Up next is Tim Dickhout. On deck is Andrew Kamian.
I am available for birthdays, bar mitzvahs, anything. Next year I will be going to Jackson Memorial in Miami.
champ.
That's why I have a bottle of scotch in my office.
Up next is Andrew Camion. On deck is Chad Williams.
My parents don't know how to use a computer, so the hell with them. My sister made the trip from Illinois, so I really appreciate that. And I don't think I had more people check in on me on Monday than, either very loving or, just overly concerned. I manage general surgery, Marshfield Clinic in Marshfield, Wisconsin.
Up next is Chad Williams. On deck is Teresa Hilgers.
I got 4 already. I can take
All right. I just want to say hi to all of our families back in Idaho and all over the country. Don't touch that border. Oh, man. Okay, doing orthopedic surgery, Wright State, University of Boone Shaft, School of Medicine, Ohio.
Up next is Teresa Hilgers. On deck is David Knierim.
All right. This is exciting. I'm going into Obstetrics and Gynecology at Mercy Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri.
Up next is David Knierim. On deck is Dan Joya. Paul Pena will be reading for him.
Family medicine at North Colorado in Greeley.
Up next is Dan Joya. On deck is Richard Wick.
All right. Dan is taking his internal medicine talents to University of Florida Shands Hospital.
Up next is Richard Wick. On deck is Andrea Schliessman.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Big thank you to my classmates. I'm honored to graduate with all you guys, so thank you for all your help. And it's really dedicated to my wife. I wouldn't be here without her, so. Going home. Anesthesiology, Oregon Health and Sciences University.
Up next is Andrea Schliessman. On deck is Danny Gorsuch.
I'm going into pediatrics at UNMC.
Up next is Danny Gorsuch. On deck is Kelsey Laycock.
So I'm doing radiology at the University of Missouri.
Up next is Kelsey Laycock. On deck is Alex Wilkes.
I matched into internal medicine at Exempel St. Joe's in Denver.
Up next is Alex Wilkes. On deck is Annie Goshgarian.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Chuck, Holly, everyone else. We're doing general surgery, Grand Rapids Med Ed.
Up next is Annie Goshgarian. On deck is Tiffany Wynn.
Hi. Mom, Dad, Andrew, Laura, Lander, Phoenix. I am doing emergency medicine at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas.
Up next is Tiffany Wynn. On deck is Eileen Nicoletti.
All right. Going into family medicine at the University of Minnesota, North Memorial.
Up next is Stephanie Ortman. On deck is Chris Welly.
Hi, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa. I'm doing dermatology at the Mayo School of Grad Med in Florida.
Up next is Chris Welly. On deck is Sarah Walls.
Doing radiology, transitional at North Dakota, and then radiology at the Mayo School of Grad Medical Education in Minnesota.
Up next is Sarah Walls. On deck is Michael Tholen.
Supposed to say hi to my sister Sally, but internet is sketchy up in North Dakota, so she might not be watching. I'm going into internal medicine at the University of Utah.
Up next is Michael Tholen. On deck is Pierre Vaux.
I don't know if anyone's watching me, so I'll just say hello to everybody, and thank you for being here. I am doing general surgery at University of Maryland in Baltimore.
Up next is Pierre Vaux. On deck is Jesse Saliga.
All right, I'm doing internal medicine at Creighton University.
I know I said it wrong. Up next is Jesse. On deck is Monica Waldy.
Sorry, Sally. I matched anesthesiology at Bay State Med Center, Massachusetts.
Up next is Monica Waldy. On deck is Allie Maffett.
Hello. Oh, geez. Okay. I'm doing internal medicine at Virginia Mason in Seattle, Washington.
Up next is Allie Maffett. On deck is Alicia Peterson.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. Our internet's actually pretty good back home in Montana, so everybody, hi. So I will be doing pediatrics at Grand Rapids.
Up next is Alicia Peterson. On deck is Erica Carlson.
Hi to everyone at St. Joe's, Dr. Kaplan, Wade. I'm doing emergency medicine at Maricopa Medical Center in Arizona.
Up next is Erica Carlson. On deck is Michael Lamb.
All right, I'm also doing emergency medicine at the University of Nebraska.
Up next is Michael Lamb. On deck is Flynn Minor Lewis.
All right, hi Mom, hi Dad. I'm going into internal medicine. I'm going to Denver, Colorado. Exempla.
Up next is Flynn Minor Lewis. On deck is Danielle Thurtle and Michael Huck.
I'm doing pediatrics at Children's Hospital, Oakland, California.
Danielle's coming up with Michael. Michael's not one of ours, so if he acts up today, it's not our responsibility. But he actually is a student at the University of Washington School of Medicine who came in to couples match with Danielle.
Next is Danielle Thurtle and Michael Dangerous Huck. And on deck is Laura Matoza.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Thurtle.
Hi, everyone at home. I'm doing pediatrics at Wake Forest University. He's doing general surgery.
General surgery at Wake Forest.
Up next is Laura Matoza. On deck is Danny Hames.
I'm doing pediatrics at Harbor UCLA Medical Center.
Up next is Danny Hames. On deck is John Gross.
Doing pediatrics at Children's Hospital in Boston.
Up next is John Gross. On deck is Kelsey Hollenbeck Parker.
Alrighty. I'm doing general surgery at Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
Up next is Kelsey Parker. On deck is Lindsay Minion.
So I don't know if the podcast is still down, but if it's not, my family better be watching. I'm doing my medicine prelim at University of Missouri, Kansas City, and PM&R at University of Washington.
Up next is Lindsay Minion. On deck is Heejun An.
Thank you to my friends that are here today and my family watching at home. Thank you for your support. I'm blessed beyond measure before I even open up this envelope. I'm matching into OBGYN, Maricopa Medical Center.
Up next is Heejun An. On deck is Sarisha Rao.
Well, I want to say hi to my mom and dad, probably drinking their 25th cup of coffee, watching this in Korea. So thank you for staying awake, and I love you guys. So I'm gonna be a psychiatrist at Dartmouth.
Up next is Sarisha Rao. On deck is McKenna Belzer and Ryan Wallenberg.
Okay, I think the podcast is still down, but I want to say hi to my family if they are watching. Oh, or then hello. I'm going into anesthesiology at Yale New Haven Hospital prelim at St. Joe's in New Phoenix.
Up next is McKenna Belzer and Ryan Wallenberg. On deck is Brian Biggerstaff.
Hi, everybody. I'm McKenna.
I'm
I'm
Ryan.
going into radiology.
I'm going into orthopedics.
Oh my God, we're going to Oregon.
Oh.
Proud of you guys. Take your stuff. Okay.
Oh my God.
Up next is Brian Biggerstaff. On deck is Paul Travis.
All right, I'll be general surgery, Creighton University.
Up next is Paul Travis. On deck is Megan Davis.
I will be ranching and doing a little emergency medicine at UNMC.
Up next is Megan Davis. On deck is Junior Universe.
I am doing neurology at Mayo, Arizona.
Up next is Junior Universe. On deck is Ona Gurney.
Hello, everyone. Surgery. I want to say hello to my mom, my sister, my cousin, my brother. General Surge, University of Tennessee.
Up next is Ona Gurney. On deck, Hira Ahmad.
Hi, I want to say hi to everyone at home in Hawaii that woke up early. I'm going into general surgery at SUNY in Brooklyn.
Up next is Hira Ahmad. On deck is Tina Hurley.
I'll be joining JG at Cleveland Clinic in Florida.
Up next is Tina Hurley. On deck is Pete Coonrad.
I want to say hi to Pete and Donna and Grandma, Ben and Phil.
Internal medicine with the little gopher at University of Minnesota.
Up next is Pete Coonrad. On deck, Natalie Braun.
All right, I'm going into anesthesia at University of Iowa.
Up next is Natalie Braun. On deck is Amber Crowder.
Obstetrics and Gynecology, Ohio State.
Up next is Amber Crowder. On deck is Jamie Daly.
I want to say hi to everybody at home and thank you so much for all your support these past few years. I'm doing obstetrics and gynecology at Triple Army Medical Center in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Up next is Jamie Daly. On deck is Sital Singh.
General surgery, St. Joe's, Phoenix, Arizona.
Up next is Sital Singh. On deck is Molly Moriarty.
I'm going home. Internal medicine, University of California, Davis.
Up Up next is Molly Moriarty. On deck is Trisha Hill.
Spencer couldn't be here, so I have him on the phone. I'm doing pediatrics at the University of North Carolina.
Up next is Trisha Hill. On deck is Quentin Fender.
Hey, everybody watching. I'm going into general surgery at the University of Kansas in Wichita.
Up next is Quentin Fender. On deck is Heather Dahlquist.
So I'm doing prelim medicine at Creighton and then radiology at Mayo Clinic in Rochester.
Next up is Heather Dahlquist. On deck is Jake Miller.
I'm doing pediatrics at UCLA.
Up next is Jake Miller. On deck is Carrie Stoy.
I just want to say hi, Mom, Dad, Amber, Travis, Holland and Tanner, Meme, and Nano. I think we got everybody. We are going into family medicine, North Colorado Medical Center, Greeley.
Up next is Carrie Stoy. On deck is Kelly Marachik.
Hey everyone. Hi Mom. Hi Amy. Hi Paul. High fives for everybody. I'm going into OBGYN at Banner Good Samaritan in Phoenix, Arizona.
Up next is Kelly Marachik. On deck is Kyle and Rebecca Contini.
I'm going to be a doctor's doctor in the field of pathology. The University of South Dakota, Sioux Falls.
Up next is Kyle and Rebecca Contini. On deck is Michael Greenwood.
I want to say hello to all our family and friends watching today. So we are doing family medicine at St. Vincent's Medical Center in Jacksonville, Florida.
Up next is Michael Greenwood. On deck is Pierce Hibma.
Going into pathology at Nebraska.
Up next is Pierce Hibma. On deck is Derek Brown.
Hello, family. Grandpa Pauline and Grandpa Bud in Florida. I'll be doing emergency medicine at Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Up next is Derek Brown, and I'm on deck.
I always knew I'd be a family man someday. Doing family medicine at the University of Minnesota in Duluth, Minnesota.
Next is me, and on deck is Ben Earhart.
Okay, Tracy's going into family medicine in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Up next is Ben Earhart. On deck is AJ Davidson.
Hello, Mom, Warren, Pat, Catherine, everybody, and everybody who actually showed up, too. I'm doing Otolaryngology, ENT, at Missouri.
Up next is AJ Davidson. On deck is Annie James and Wally Hussein.
I'm really sorry this is going to be anticlimactic for most of you. But also hi to Lizzie Sullivan, if you're still watching. But I'm going to general surgery at UC Davis, Sacramento, California.
Up next is Annie James and Wally Hussein. On deck is Nick Townley.
Okay. I'm going into Obstetrics and Gynecology at the University of Missouri, Kansas City.
I am too, but I'm going into peds. Hello, Mom, Dad. Thank you, Derek Brown.
Thanks. Up next is Nick Townley. On deck is Anders Grindy.
Hello, hi, Mom, Dad, Townleys, Johnsons, Connor, Lee, and Meg, Maraid, Bridget. I matched into pediatrics. I'm working with children at Kansas City Mercy Hospital in Missouri.
Go Jays.
Up next is Anders Grindy. On deck is Leslie Rubiel.
Hey guys, special thanks to my family and friends for all their support this last week. I'm doing a prelim general surgery at Medical College of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, and then diagnostic radiology at St. Louis University.
Up Up next is Leslie Rubio, and on deck is Bridget Nelson, Pudwill.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I'm going into pediatrics here in Creighton, Nebraska Children's Program.
Up next is Bridget Pudwill, and on deck is Matthew Prock.
Going into family medicine at the University of Nebraska and then to Grand Island.
Up next is Matt Prock. On deck is Amanda Pope.
I'm doing my psychiatry residency at University of Colorado, Denver.
Yeah!
Up next is Amanda Pope. On deck is Peter Power.
Hi, Mom and Dad, and everybody that you work with. I'm going into pediatrics at Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Up next is Peter Power. On deck is John Schwarkowski. Jamie Daly will be reading.
Hi, Mom and Dad, Dee Dee and Drew, everyone else out there watching. Doing obstetrics and gynecology at Charleston Area Medical Center, West Virginia University.
Up next is John Schwarkowski. On deck is Lindsay Jones.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Schwarkowski, and John is going to University of Minnesota for internal medicine.
Up next is Lindsay Jones. On deck is Kyle Register.
I'd like to say hi to my brother Drew. Yo, I can't make it out. Sorry, Mom, I'm moving far, far away. Internal medicine at Brown.
Up next is Kyle Register and Kate Robertson. On deck is Alyssa Ratzlaff.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hey, Mom and Dad, too. I'm doing psychiatry.
Internal medicine at Creighton.
Up next is Alyssa Ratzlaff. On deck is Julie Zitterkopf.
Alrighty. Hi, my sister Leah, family, friends, Facebook population. I'm doing emergency medicine at University of North Carolina.
Up next is Julie Zitterkopf. On deck is Hank and Kelsey Schultz.
I'm going into PM&R. Next year, he's going into radiology at University of Kansas School of Medicine in Kansas City, and a prelim year here at the University of Nebraska.
Up next is Hank and Kelsey. On deck is Brian Nelson.
I'm going to emergency medicine.
Family medicine.
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Up next is Brian Nelson. On deck is Sheena Plamutil.
I'm doing family medicine at the University of California at Davis.
So up next is Sheena Plamutil, and she'll be splitting the pot with Armando Rodriguez.
So I had a dream last night that Tracy forgot to call me up. So, whew. Anyway, I'm doing OBGYN at Creighton University.
Last but not least is Armando Rodriguez.
This sucks. Doing emergency medicine at UCLA Medical Center in California.